Hello, my name is Jonathan Costner, and today I'm going to be doing a tutorial video on the process of inserting keyframes within animation using Blender version 2.79. I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial video, and with that being said, let's get to it. So what we have here in front of us is the default settings on Blender. If I go over here and right click on this point, we have the camera. If I go over here and right click on this lamp, we have the lamp. And if I go over here and right click, we have a cube. So the big question is how can we actually animate this cube? Well, there are certain ways we can do this. So what I'm going to start off with is I'm going to create an in frame on Blender. So I'm going to go over here to the in frame, I'm going to left click, I'm going to type in the number 50, enter, and the end frame is at number 50 and the start frame is at number 1. So I'm actually going to go down here to the control panel and I'm going to left click to play animation. And as you can see, the animation is being played, but there's no animation. So how can we animate this cube? So in order to do this, I'm going to go down here to the control panel, I'm going to left click on the pause button, and I'm going to go over here to this arrow and left click to take me back to frame 1. And so in order to get started, we have to sort of set up our view. So I'm going to go over here to view, left click, and I'm going to go over here and left click on right numpad 3. Now if you have a numpad, you can actually press the number 3 on your pad, but I'm going to make it a bit easier for today, so I'm going to left click on right numpad 3 and it takes me to the right view of the cube. And now I'm going to go over here to left click on view, and now I'm going to left click on view, perspective, ortho, numpad 3. And the reason I'm in ortho view is because it allows me to sort of edit a bit easily on Blender. So I'm going to use the mouse wheel to zoom in a bit. I'm going to press and hold the shift key and middle mouse wheel to move up a bit, and that looks about right. And now I'm going to add a mesh, so I'm going to press shift A and I'm going to go over here to mesh and I'm going to left click on plane, and now I'm going to press the S key to scale outwards using the mouse to about right over here. And now I'm going to go back here to view, left click, and left click on right numpad 3, zoom in a bit, and now I'm going to right click on the cube. Now make sure that the cube is highlighted by right clicking on it, or otherwise you're going to be making some adjustments with the plane. So since the cube is highlighted, we have the Z-axis arrow and the Y-axis arrow. So I'm going to actually left click on the Z-axis arrow. I'm going to move it up to about right here. And now I'm going to left click on the Y-axis arrow and move it over here. Now I'm going to zoom in by using the mouse wheel. This looks about right. And there we go. And now let's start animating. So in order to insert a keyframe, you need to press the I key, and you have the insert keyframe menu. And now I'm going to go down here and we have location, rotation, scale. So I'm going to left click on that and we've just inserted our first keyframe. Now I'm going to take us to frame 50. So I'm going to go over here, left click and type in 50, enter. So now we're at frame 50 and I'm going to left click on the Y-axis arrow, drag it over here to the left. About right here is good. And now I'm going to press the R key. I'm going to move the mouse to rotate the cube. And this is about right. And now I'm going to press the I key and I'm going to go over here, left click on location, rotation, scale, and now we've just inserted our second keyframe. So if I press shift, left arrow key, it takes me back to frame 1, and if I press Alt A to play the animation, there is our first animation. However, there is a problem. Notice that the cube is rotating through the plane. I don't want it to do that. So I'm going to go over here to view, left click, and I'm going to left click on right numpad 3. I'm going to press Alt A to stop the animation. I'm going to go down to this arrow over here, left click. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to this red button. I'm going to left click on it. And what this does is that it actually inserts keyframes automatically while I'm animating. So I'm going to continuously press the right arrow key. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to left click on the Z-axis arrow, move it upwards, left click on the Y-axis arrow, drag it a bit to the right, press down the right arrow key continuously, and you can see I'm making some adjustments and that looks about right. Shift left arrow key, and now if I press Alt A to play, there we have it, an animation of a cube rotating, and it's not going through the plane. So I'm going to press Alt A to stop, and now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go over here to View, I'm going to left click, and I'm going to go over here to Camera, numpad 0, left click on that, and we're now in camera view. However, I want to make some adjustments on the camera, so I'm going to right click on the highlight of the camera. I'm going to press the N key to go to Properties. I'm going to go down here, and here's a cool feature called Lock Camera to View. So I'm going to left click on this, give it a check mark. Then I'm going to press the N key to exit out of Properties, and now the view is locked to the camera. So I'm going to press and hold the Shift key, hold down the middle mouse wheel to move the camera, rotate it a bit. And this looks about right, so I'm going to play the animation. Going to pause. Now I'm going to take you to rendered, and this is what it looks like in rendered mode. Now, I recently got a comment about how you export or render out video clips or animations. Well, I'm going to show you how to do that for today, so I'm going to go over here to the Properties menu, drag this out to the left a bit, and we have the render information and the dimensions information. The resolution is at 1920 by 1080, and the frame rate is at 24 frames per second, so I'm going to keep it at these adjustments. So now what I'm going to do is that we have the output settings right here, and notice that we're on PNG. So I'm going to left click on this, and we have FFmpeg video, frame server, AVI RAW, and AVI JPEG. Since I'm not using audio clips, I'm going to left click on AVI JPEG, and that's the video format that it's going to be rendering out on. If you're using audio clips and video clips, then my suggestion is to use FFmpeg video. If you have an earlier version of Blender, the settings might be a bit different, so keep in mind with that. And now I'm going to try to create an output to where my video is going to be. So I'm going to over here, left click on this, go to desktop, and I'm going to call this animation test. Enter. Left click on accept, and after you're done with that, you can just go up here and you can left click on animation, and hopefully your video will be rendered out. Now, another thing to remember is that if you're editing or animating in Cycles Render, it's going to take much longer to get your animation rendered out, but if you're using features like Blender Render, it's going to go by a bit quickly. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial video. I'm very sad to say this, but this will be my last tutorial video for Blender. Hopefully I'll be able to do future tutorial videos on other programs, but I don't know when that's going to happen. But anyways, I'm Jonathan Costner. Thank you for watching this video. I hope to see you guys soon. So have a good day. Bye.